Hi, welcome back to Crimson Glass on YouTube. This is part 2 of Discovering Mad World. In the first part, I kind of just talked about expectations, like what I want to do with this, what's the point of this, why am I spending my time on this? And in this part, we're going to talk more about Mad World itself. It is, as you guys well know, it is book 3 of a trilogy, and so we are closing out an entire story. It is taking us, it's going to actually, I think, I haven't really figured out the timeline terribly just yet, but I think we're going to close right about a year after the trilogy starts. So book 1 starts in June of 2003. And I feel like book 3 is going to end somewhere in June or July of 2004, but don't quote me on that yet. It begins with a rewrite of the Panic Room, and that was book 1. So I rewrote Rick locking pregnant Carly in the Panic Room and Elizabeth finding her and having a pulmonary embolism, and then I rewrote that. And I also, book 2 is the aftermath of all of that. The PCPD is a big part of that story. They mess up the entire case, they mess up the entire investigation of book 1, and in book 2, they're hunting a serial rapist who they probably should have already caught by now because they're terrible at their jobs. And then in book 3, we close it out. So book 3 kind of started when I realized that I wasn't going to be able to deal with Rick in book 2. Initially, I was going to have him dealt with in book 2. My early plans were in an epilogue. He was just going to be sentenced on bail. I don't remember. I think he was just going to be dealt with. And then I was writing book 2. I realized that wasn't enough space. I think it was also like I was writing book 1 and I was getting into book 2, and I was just plotting it out. And I just realized the crap that I was going to put Elizabeth and Carly through, I really felt like they deserved more. I think I wrote this. Yeah, I was writing the scene. I was playing the scenes where Elizabeth and Carly are offered a deal to make Rick go away, and they decide they want to testify. And like I just like the idea of them standing up for it and just like demanding what they think they deserve. And I realized I needed more space for Rick, and I could either figure out how to make him work in book 2, which was already cram packed full of a lot of ensemble stuff, or I could do a book 3. And for about a year, that's all I ever knew about book 3 was we deal with Rick. And I'm like, obviously that's the wrong way to say it. So when I was struggling in April, I was struggling because for a lot of reasons. I think I sat down and I had never really figured out the story, and even when I had figured it out, I still didn't know it enough about it. And I wasn't excited to write it. And we came really close to just canceling it altogether, which is not really an option because I really very much want to finish it. So I had to kind of sit back and think about, well, why don't I want to cancel it? Like, what is the point? So I started to think about why I needed a book 3 in the first place. And I need a book 3 because Liz and Carly, it's not that I needed space to deal with Rick, it's that Liz and Carly deserved it. And they were not in charge of the story in book 3. They were passive in book 3. And it's like, that's not normal for me. Normally Elizabeth is front and center of everything, except like I think the only book where she's not is The Best Thing, and that's because it is Jason's story. But by and large, it's usually her doing everything. So it was weird for me to realize that I had written Elizabeth into this really passive role. So I had to sit down and figure that out. I had to revamp the storyline, look at my outline, and decide that the story needed to be told from the point of view of Elizabeth and Carly. I also realized I didn't need to revisit all of the characters. Like, does Mac deserve closure? Should we revisit him because he was a character in book 1 and book 2? Not really. I mean, sure we can give him a scene or here or there, but like he doesn't need to be something I need to think about. It's okay if I don't have a major teen storyline. Like, yes, Dylan was really heavily in book 1 and 2. Lucas was in book 1 and 2, mostly in book 2 because of the Brooke. And then we had Georgie and we had a little bit of Maxie in both. And like they're gonna be in book 3, but like I don't think we need a major storyline with them, right? I think that I need to, and then I realized, well, I had shifted focus in every book. In book 1, it was none of the teens. None of the teens were really in it. Brooke was kind of there because I was setting up. Well, yeah, Lucas was in it because of Carly, and Lulu was in it because of Carly, and I was setting up Brooke for book 2. So like everybody was present in that, and then in book 2, it just continued it because it was Brooke's story I was telling. But in book 3, it's not their story anymore; it's Dante's, and they fold into it. So like there's still room for him. So as soon as I stopped telling myself what I had to do in the story, and I figured out what I really wanted to do in the story, it got a lot easier for me to kind of think my way through it. So that's where I am, and so it's May 31st, and I'm starting the alpha draft tomorrow, and I want to kind of take stock and see where I am. So I looked at my file yesterday, and I have mostly figured out the first half of the story, breaking down the scenes. I think the first act is completely broken down scene-wise. I need to finish refining it. I need to finish breaking down chapters. I think we're looking at around 35 chapters, but I think it might be longer. It might be shorter. I don't know. It'll figure out once we get to that third part in the middle, like when I get to the middle of the story, because that's usually what takes up a lot of space. So, in book 3, I really want to close off this trilogy. I've been working on Mad World off and on for 4 years, but I've really been dealing with the story since 2004 in the back of my head. And, to finally finish it and have it done in 2020, 16 years later, it's old enough to, well, not drive anymore, but, like, it's old enough to get a learner's permit. It'll be nice to kind of close it out and be done with it. It's very rare for me to be able to do that these days. So that's where I am today. Today I'm just like gonna sit down, take stock of it, and while the videos I'm making today are exporting, I'm gonna be in Scrivener, figuring out last minute soundtracks. My soundtrack's not gonna be fully finished because my chapters aren't fully finished being fleshed out, but that's okay. I'm okay with that in a way because of the way I structured my outline. I kind of wrote out all the big beats. Like, I'm okay not knowing all the nitty-gritty details because I do know my ending and I do know the big points. And I'm gonna kind of like figure out the chapter structure as I go. Maybe that's something we can talk about another time, is just how I structure chapters and why they are the length they are, because they tend to be anywhere from 15 to 25 pages. They're pretty long, actually, especially for a fan fiction chapter. So that is the plan for the rest of my day is to finish editing videos and to figure out Scriv. And then tomorrow I'm going to reset my pacemaker plan, which is my word count goal. We're going to set a goal for July 30th is going to be, I'm going to set a goal of, let me see, 35 chapters. I think I said I'm pointing at 35 chapters times 5,000 words. So is that 70,000? No. I can't do math. This is terrible. Hold on. Let me look at my phone. Back. Sorry. If I pause the video, the audio gets messed up because I'm just using my webcam. And so we're not going to pause the video. We're not going to do that today. All right, where's my calculator? Looking at the app on my phone. All right, so if I have 35 chapters times 5,000, we're looking at a initial goal of, preliminary goal of 175,000. That's about 6,000 less. I mean, it's not a lot. It's a little bit short. It's a little bit shorter than what I did for Broken Girl. So actually, it's fine. Yeah, that sounds about right. Actually, 35 chapters, 100. Now I might revise that goal as I get deeper into the story. Maybe I need like 1 or 2 extra chapters. Maybe I need less chapters. But like setting that goal, it's realistic because it's probably going to be in that ballpark. I think we are definitely looking between 155,000 to 180,000. Like it's in that 35,000. Because that's a difference of 5 chapters for me. Like if I cut 5 chapters or I add 5 chapters, right? That's what it is. And my chapters are anywhere from 4,500 words to 6,500 words, and occasionally they go into 7,500 words. So 5,000 is a really good average. It kind of sits right in the middle of where I tend to end up in my chapters. My chapters usually don't end up being much more than 5,000, but every once Broken Girl, I kept having 7,000 word pages, 7,000 word chapters. It's crazy. So I'm going to set that initial date goal and then figure out how much word count I'm supposed to hit a day and then do that. And then that's where we're going to go. So follow me on Twitter. I do a lot of general posting there. When I do my weekly, so right now for Broken Girl, I have 3 chapters we're posting weekly, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm up doing flash fiction. So 1 or 2 days a week, I do actually edit my links. Like if I have scheduled all my update links, so like it just posts like, this is your update. Sometimes I edit that post and add text to tell you what's going on. So like once a week I will check in text-wise how things are going with word count, but I will do it daily. Like I'll let you know like, hey, starting to write, let's see if it sucks. So check in any way you feel comfortable. All right, I will see you at the end of the week. This is the last one I'm gonna make for today because I don't know anything else. I haven't written anything yet. Yeah. All right, bye.